We have been talking a lot over the last, several months, and certainly the last couple of years we've seen it, but how many people are leaving their jobs during what's being called the Great Resignation? However, per a new Harris poll, this is for USA Today, 1 in 5 of those surveyed had feelings of remorse regarding their new job. And only 26% of those who switched jobs say they actually like their new position enough to stay there, while 30% say their new role is a little different than what they anticipated. Right now, joining us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline, we have Mick Doherty of Dahl Consulting. Mick, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jessica. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we want to talk first about why have so many been people switching their jobs over the last 2 years? Why are people leaving?
And that's a great question. This Great Resignation is definitely very real. I don't think there's a full silver bullet for the why completely, but a lot of it really came initially when COVID first started. Obviously the world was flipped upside down, and employee burnout really started to take over. We had a lot of people that had been in their jobs that left the market, retired. We had this move from in-office to now the full remote world that really impacted how business operated in that company culture as well, too. And a lot of that full culture turned into just more of a job, and it started to make people think of what else might be out there. In our more than 40 years of experience, we haven't seen our economy come out of recession as quickly as we did from that fourth quarter of 2020 into first quarter of 2021. A lot of it was centered around new budgets coming in of projects that had been kicked for the last year. Now companies were coming out of this and had to hire and bring in a lot of people, and the market just wasn't there anymore. So lots of opportunities for job postings and for people to take new jobs.
There's been a lot of postings, too, that offer a mobile or a work from home, things that I have never seen in granted, I had been looking and going to newsrooms, and, those jobs you just generally don't work from home. But a lot of people who are switching jobs, friends who I've talked to, and there's just so much more opportunity now for flexibility.
Yeah, that's something we're really trying to educate our clients on consistently is that need for flexibility is very real. Obviously the salary is one of the most important reasons for people to take a new job. But that flexibility now is really coming as that second, whether it's a fully remote opportunity or that hybrid model that we're seeing most companies start to adapt.
How about this then? When we have so many people leaving, that Great Resignation, why are we now hearing about so many people kind of regretting leaving that position? Has it been more like impulse leaving during the Great Resignation?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. What appears to have happened is the opportunities came at people very quickly. We have a lot of candidates that got into the market. It's their first time looking for a new job in a long time, and what we're seeing is that maybe there wasn't a lot of vetting being done. A lot of people have their reasons why they want to leave their current company, and when looking at the new companies, these dollar signs were very real. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said that we had the largest increase in year-over-year compensation in decades. And so for a lot of people, it was, well, this new job's going to pay me more money, so therefore I'll take it. And weren't maybe looking at all the other intangibles of the opportunity on the remote environment, the culture, the opportunities for growth, the team that you'll be working with. And on the hiring side as well, too, seeing a lot of hiring managers who are feeling the tight market and maybe bringing in people faster on quicker turnaround times, one interview and hiring someone, and not doing that due diligence to make sure that this person is truly the perfect fit as opposed to a potentially good fit.
I can see how that would how you would have hiring managers just trying to find people, and you find someone who you think might be good and you're trying to bring them in quickly. And the same with the other side, where if you have someone who's kind of enticing you away with a nice salary or, some other amenities that you might not have, maybe not taking the time to really think about that transition and making that move could kind of come back to haunt you. The grass may not always be greener.
That's exactly the statement that we've shared with a lot of our candidates. And, for such a big decision in people's lives of changing their job. So many people don't do it very often, and so there isn't a lot of practice behind it. There aren't a ton of guides of making sure you are following all these processes and asking all these questions during your interview process. For so long, it was candidates at interviews were trying to sell themselves on why they're the perfect fit, and that market has kind of shifted a bit, where it's making sure that it's an equal, perfect match for both people, for the candidate as well as for the client. And so it's something we've really been trying to educate all of our candidates on for their interview processes, is making sure they're asking a lot of questions around the intangibles of the opportunity.
So what should we be considering then before we go out there and make that change in maybe an entirely different career? It's taking the time, as you just mentioned here, and making sure it's a good fit for both sides, really. What are some other suggestions you have? Yeah,
and I should share, too, we do have a lot of blogs around this topic on our website at dahlconsulting.com. It's DAHL consulting.com. But a lot of questions also are again, around what is it that you're looking for in terms of your career? Is it that work-life balance? Is it opportunities to move up within the organization? Is it a strong team that's surrounding you? These are questions that oftentimes are not being asked in the interview, and really making sure, too, that manager that you're signing up to join, is that person going to manage you the way that's effectively going to make you better at your career? Oftentimes the reason people join an organization or leave an organization is based off their hiring manager, and making sure that that person's going to manage you, maybe more effectively than the current manager that you're working with.
And in a team environment, if you're going to be going in and kind of working with a specific group of people, is it fair to say, I'd like to meet my team members and kind of get to know some of them too, the people that I'm going to be working more closely with? Is that a good ask, a good question?
Absolutely. And it's something that we do recommend. It's something that we actually also recommend to our clients to put as part of their interview process, because there's a lot of a different perspective that your coworker or future coworker can give you that maybe your manager can't. And so we, especially at Strong Science, we ask them to do that, because it's a great opportunity for those coworkers to share why they are still at the organization, why they're staying during this great resignation.
How about for people that have kind of taken that leap already? They've quit that existing job, and now they're feeling regret. They're feeling a little remorse, and they're kind of in this position of, what can I do? What should I do? How do you help those folks? I know
there's always the internal concern of not wanting to move multiple jobs within a year or two and be viewed as a job hopper. But it feels, and what we've seen is with this chaotic change in the environment that we've seen in the last 2 years, that, as you said, there's a lot of people who are regretting their decisions, and they should not be staying at that current position just because they've made that decision. It doesn't mean that you have to stay. But what we are recommending is just making sure you're doing that due diligence your next time around. Make sure that you're looking at multiple opportunities, and that you're interviewing multiple people within those organizations that you're looking at as well, too.
If you've left a position and are like, I think I kind of messed up and I might want to go back, do you encourage people to just say, what, I think I made a hasty decision here and I'd like to come back? Or once you leave, do employers kind of look at that as we've moved on?
Unfortunately, I don't have the perfect answer to that. I think each scenario is going to be slightly dependent on how you left, on what terms you left, on the how they maybe backfilled your position or not. I think it's perfectly reasonable to reach back out and see if there is that opportunity to go back to the organization. Just know that it certainly can impact how you're viewed within that organization as well, too.
I suppose it's one of those, you never know unless you ask, I suppose, right?
Yeah, it's the same as what we see with people that will accept counteroffers from their current employer. The studies all show that more than half of them will be gone within a year. And most of the time it's because the underlying issues aren't just around salary. There's a lot more reasons for why you might leave that company. And so, I think I would maybe reevaluate the whys behind you left in the first place, too. Was it purely just because of money, or were there other underlying issues that would still be there should you go back?
Right. Good advice. Mick, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We've heard so much talk about the Great Resignation, and now we're hearing a little bit about maybe some of the resignation regrets here, too. So you have to weigh all factors, all sides. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mick.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.